I'm Enzo, and today I'll be playing more Oxygen Not Included Spaced Out. In this episode, we're still very much in the early game, which means we have a lot of stuff to prepare. Mainly getting this other Draco, because reed fiber is extremely important. Next, I'm playing with this BioInk mod. This pretty much allows you to kind of reprint old prints. It gives you BioInks when you reject a print, and with 2 of them, you can actually create an entirely new print. And if you put them in a tinkering station, or tinkering workbench, whatever it's called, you can turn them into new stuff, like seed inks, where you have a higher only chance of getting seeds, or metal, or animals. I don't remember the other ones, but still, it's a really cool mod. And finally, I decided to rebuild the exosuit forge, and I did the right thing this time. I knew what was going to happen. It happens every time. But for some reason, once I load the game back up, it seems to just work again. Although you can't do this another time. You only get one use of the exosuit forge before the game crashes again. So I'm gonna have to save next time before I queue more. One day I should really figure out what is doing this. I'm not sure if it's the game. I'm pretty sure it's a mod. I just don't know which one, but for now I just live with it. Now, the real question is, what are we doing with these Atmo suits? Well, the entire plan is to go into this little cold biome on the right of the world, also sometimes called the tundra, but I call them cold biomes. I'm making a double liquid lock using this new door, and the whole idea is for there to be a vacuum so no cold gets out, but the whole idea is for this to become a at least basic industrial area. I also kind of forgot how gas pipes work. Yeah, this was a little embarrassing. This airlock door is from its own mod, and it's actually pretty neat once it gets going, although you have to build the power wire before you build it, or else the duplicants can't reach the power wire to build it to power the door to open the door. You see the issue here? Yeah, at least I figured that out early on. Besides that though, this door is extremely useful just being a nice airlock between places, although it does conduct heat. My next goal is to set up new actual bathrooms that are pumped. Yeah, instead of having the duplicants do all the work, because they do forget to empty the toilets every so often. And I don't want to have to deal with the polluted water always off-gassing in the polluted dirt. Since I have so few duplicants and this is such an early game, this is only going to have 3 sinks and 3 bathrooms. I usually have 4 of each, but this is my completely normal design for this entire setup. It loops perfectly, and any excess polluted water goes off into its own little tank. Pretty much the best bathroom design you can make. And eventually, if or when I do get reed fiber, the excess always goes into reed fiber, just because, you know, free reed fiber. Now, unfortunately, at this point, I only have 2 Atmo suits, and the duplicants don't have any of the skills necessary to use Atmo suits, which means it's going to take us a while to finally get this area up and running. But the whole reason I make my industrial area first in a cold biome is just because it's cold. I want to melt it. I don't really have another use for the cold biome. I also want the Draco near, of course, but you create so much heat with these machines until you get heat deletion and stuff like that. You kind of have to build this in an area where it's cooler so you don't make your entire base just a living hell, wasteland. I have a lot of food issues, so some of this awesome sleet wheat that I found will be used to create some more food, instead of berry sludge, because I don't have bristle blossoms. Now, early on, some of the pipes do break for this metal refinery just because I think it's too cold. It's not that the water gets too hot, but it is at least a start. And we get a 1-to-1 metal conversion ratio with the metal refinery, so it is more worth it to do this way than to use a rock crusher, which only gives half of your metal as refined metal. And the kilns, of course, are to start making some refined carbon, so I can eventually, hopefully early on, get some steel going. I'm not going to show all of them for obvious reasons, but man, this run had a lot of close calls with duplicants almost suffocating. It was actually kind of scary for most of these times, but somehow, by a miracle, the duplicants do manage to survive. Another major focus for this entire run is going to be ranching. I want to do a lot of ranching, of mostly hatches and poke shells. This is mostly because they give off a crap ton of lime. I want lime. Lime is good for making steel. Steel is good. And this is my standard ranch design. It's max size with one tile at the top right. This is the usual loadout, 2 critter feeders. Eventually I'll automate everything, of course, but for now I kind of have to do everything, well, manually, because I don't have any automation or the power grid to run it. And particularly, we want stone hatches, because they can consume igneous rock. To get stone hatches, we have to feed normal hatches sedimentary rock. This is a little annoying because we don't have that much sedimentary rock, but it will at least be enough to get our stone hatches up. Okay, this segment needs a bit more time to explain. This is an incubator. It incubates eggs and makes them kind of hatch faster. The issue is, it uses a lot of power and generates a lot of heat. To counteract this, you can set a timer, so it's only going to activate a little bit each cycle, and give it enough time so that the duplicant can go ahead and lullaby the egg, which makes it hatch faster, but keep it off the rest of the time, so the egg gets the buff, but it isn't always using heat and electricity, so that's really good. Abusing the priority system, I can see that there are unfortunately no volcanoes at the bottom of the map. A little bit later, I get my first stone hatch egg, and I obviously send that right to the incubator. I want to get stone hatches up as soon as possible. We're going to get so much igneous rock from this map, because we have the full miner yield mod, that this is going to be amazingly worth it. Close enough to golden hair, researching rocketry, I think we know exactly what name fits this duplicant perfectly. As well as, Eldritch is one of my favorite characters in Azure Lane, so I think this is perfect. I know I said I wouldn't show all of them, but this one in particular just stood out. How? How does she get herself stuck? I don't even know. At least she managed to make it out alive. At least. Duplicants are definitely something else at certain times. And I kind of subconsciously dug towards the teleporter, so I can go to the other planetoid now if I want to. I'll hold off on that for a bit though. But looking at the other planetoid, this is the radioactive crust modifier. I thought it was going to be dangerous, but no, it's just cold and has some uranium. I thought it was going to be like extremely radioactive, but I guess not. Now, I kind of forgot at this point that I now have over 8 duplicants. I know I had 9, I completely forgot I had 9, but I have 10 now, which means I need more bedrooms, or at least more beds. So here's another bedroom for my duplicants. There were a bunch of Sweetles at the top of the world, and I need food. I think you can tell what happens next. I'm gonna have to change where I make oxygen next, because the base is getting a little toasty in the middle. Yeah, I have food issues the entire game, so here's me trying to enable auto harvest for everything I can to squeeze at least a little bit more food out of this world. We're gonna need a lot more ranchers for this playthrough, and considering the black hair and being rancher, which I assume would be a bit more of a sweet duplicant, I think Azuma is a pretty fitting name. I also kind of just wanted to use Azuma as a name. Here's pretty much the easy way to solve any of these puzzles. You just go ahead and destroy it. I mean, why not? I have a bunch of ethanol from some of the ethanol lakes I've been cleaning up around my world, so I might as well use it as an alternate power source, especially considering I'm running out of hydrogen, and I really need power. I don't want to have to go to coal, or worse, duplicant labor. We still have a food crisis. Yep, it's gotten to this point, microbe musher time. This is how little food we make. Anyways though, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and thank you guys for watching. This is going to be Enzo from LookIntoGaming, signing out.